divorce, sickness, cancer, all these things can happen to you which stop your plan. So you've got to have a plan B as well, okay? It's most likely that, I won't want to scare you too much, but you know that the statistics of health isn't that great when you start getting into this bracket. So you need to plan for that, because it takes people back a real far away when a health issue happens. And you think, well, I'll be right. You won't be right. You won't be right, because we're running out of retirement places now. I think I was with Cheryl actually from Rock Solid. We went to a renewal SA seminar actually, just mentioning that, and they were talking about all their housing trust, and they're reconstructing all that because they believe that there's some real trouble with more the older people trying to retire and find housing rather than that. So that's going to be a very big focus in what they're looking at, because it is going to be very scary. So 7% of the age of 70 are still working. That's today. Most common for reason obviously is fetal health, and that's something you can't plan for. Mention that. And 50% of retirees will live longer. Well, this is a good one. I'll plan till I'm 80. I'll plan till I'm 85. What happens if you make 90, 95 or 100? Everyone used to die as a man at 75. That's now 85 as an average, right? For a woman, it was older. I can't exactly remember. I think it was what was that? Extra 5 years, right? That's getting up to the 90s now, and we're getting better. Like we're us human are really working that out. We're working out how to live longer and be healthier, and we're getting smarter about it. So that's a toughie. Plan for 85, you live to 95. Now 50 grand. An extra you live another 10 years, where are you going to find that money from? Or are you going to do what? 80% of people do there? They live off a pension. And has anyone put your hand up if you know someone on a pension living somewhere? Right. Quite a few of you. Okay. Ask them the questions. How are things going? Ask them. There was a lady died the other day. She couldn't put her heater on. She was scared to put her heater on in her house. Okay, she died. Now, okay, it's extreme. I'm not here for extremes, but it's true. Okay, it is a very, very, very scary thing. They can't eat meat. Who knows what a kilo of meat costs? Scotch fillet. It's almost $40 a kilo. I remember buying that at $8 a kilo. That's crazy. It's crazy. You can't buy a piece of steak. Like that's pension. Okay, that's actually a fact. It's a fact of life. So we've really got to watch that. The other is the rest of the world. Like you've got some people who are living at the green one is the self retirees, which is 15%, and then you've got people who manage their own self-managed super funds, and then you've got the rich. Okay, which is the blue, which is very rare. Okay, and they're completely independent. Look, we've gone into this. The tax benefit of buying property, as Jason mentioned, it's about getting your tax income down as well. It's about paying less tax. Let's remember that. It's a strategy to pay less tax. Forget about all the capital growth and all those fantastic things that Jason mentioned. Just reducing your tax is a great strategy. And obviously, and we'll go into that in a second as well. What's going on here? Here's a little graph of 1998, and it's not that far. We'll remember 1998 to 2000. Well, it's only 2010, so keep going up. Who bought a house from around? Oh, tell me. Put up the hand when I volunteer of when they bought their first house. Anybody? How old were you? 2000. How much did you pay for it? 232. And what would it be worth today?
I don't have it now, but I think it's about 7.
Gone up. Yeah. Yes.
I bought my first house when I was 27.
Yes.
I bought it, but we were in the UK then, so I bought it for £30,000.
Yes.
and we sold it when we moved here 9 years ago
Yes.
for 210,000.
Oh, there you go.
In 15 years, it had gone up, 170,000.
Yeah. Anybody else like to volunteer? Who's buying your first house? Tony, who's buying your first house?
First house,
Yeah.
Jeps Cross.
How much you pay for it?
65,000.
What's it worth today?
No, I got rid of it quite a few years ago.
Yeah, just
sold
roughly.
about 230.
Would it be worth
Worth about 10 years.
worth 230 today?
Yeah.
Right, so it's doubled, right? So what they say, 10, 15, you're going to double your investment. You're
Well,
gonna
that's a
double-
good question. I mean, a lot of people say the rule is every 10 years the property doubles. Rule of thumb.
10 to 15.
Yeah. The way the economy is, do you think it's going to double in the next 10 years? If you buy a property today?
I don't know, do you want to read that and tell me what you think?
I,
Or I
I'm
can-
sorry,
I give
I
you-
say
I give
it's
you-
hard reading your writing. It's
No, that's okay. I was
It's very hard to
joking.
read it,
Yeah, I can give you 200 years of history, right?
Yeah.
And it all says yes.
yeah.
Now, let me say that, right? And I'm not putting my name to that,
Okay.
of course, but for the last 200 years, property has gone up, okay? It's just a fact of life, right? And they're saying the average of all that data is saying between 10 and 15, depending on which, I'm talking about which snapshot you want to take of which cycle, it catches up. It catches up. So remember I said in the 90s I bought a property, for 10 years I didn't have any growth. I actually had a little bit of negative growth, right? And I went, oh my God, a young fella, I believe in all this stuff, huh? You're saying? Oh my God, and I thought, that house is worth, unbelievable amount of money. It's tripled, that house, right? But, so that was, that's, what I'm saying is that you've got to believe in economy because the government, the economy, they all work this out, okay? Interest rates, CPI, all this is all, it's a matter of, what happening around the world, wars, all these things. It has to happen because there has to have movement. And these economists, they know how to boost things up. They all want to make money too, right? Believe me. So really, really powerful. So just imagine if you bought 3 of those, Tony, or 4 of those when you were a young fella,
Yeah.
which you could have. How much money would you have today? You'd be pretty set, I reckon, right? Great interest rate, great. That's how you build a portfolio. But just get in there. You have to get in there and just sit and wait. And it could be 20 years, it could be 15 years. It will happen. But forget about the capital growth for a second. You've got all your tax advantages. There's a lot of other benefits. So here's the cycle. This is the cycle. I went and saw it. It's called Wilson. It's the Wilson curve. He's actually an economist for Domain Real Estate. We flew to Sydney and I went and saw this guy. Just wanted to find out what such a big resourceful company has got every sale ever known to man in their portfolio of their statistics. They know everything. They know what age groups are hitting. They know everything. They're an unbelievable power. So this is their comments. So they make all their data. And when I went there, we looked at every state. We looked at the performance of every state. And this is he loved Adelaide. He said it's safe and steady. Right? So that's how he said. He says Adelaide, you just sit and you wait, safe and steady. He said other and this is what he's saying. This is the Wilson curve. It goes up, it corrects itself, it goes down, it recovers, it expands, it goes up, and that's what happens. And it's the same thing. This is basically saying what the average prices are in the area at the time that he did this. Adelaide's safe and steady, it's still affordable, and that's just true data. I'm not going to go into this, but this is how far we go into the data. So we try to get a real grasp of what the individual wants. So we know everything's, we can get any statistic of any suburb